Hi, welcome to Sue Marie P. My name's Sue. Today I'm going to share a spelt and rye bread. It's delicious for sandwiches or toast. So let's get started. So in this bowl I've got some warm water, 3 tablespoons, and I'm going to add in some yeast. Today I'm using 1 whole packet of dry yeast, which is 14 grams. And I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of honey. And if honey's not your thing, you can add in maple syrup, another sweetener, a little bit of, or 1 teaspoon of sugar. So just going to let that rest for 5 minutes until it becomes a little bit foamy. So my yeast mix is all quite foamy. So in here I've got rye flour. This is a light version of rye. We can get 2 types here. We can get a more grainy version, but I've just bought the light one. So that's 160 grams. And I'm doing white spelt flour, 260 grams. You can do whole grain. You'll just get more of a dense loaf. We have 20 grams or 3 level teaspoons of salt. And to make it a real classic style rye, I'm doing 1 tablespoon of caraway seeds. You can leave that out if you don't like any of the spice. And I've got 1 cup of warm water. That's just warm to touch. That'll go in. Add in this yeast mix. And I'm going to add in just 1.5 tablespoons of honey. Just going to add this all to my stand mixer. I'm going to knead this for about 5 minutes until it's all combined. I've just increased the speed and it's almost done. You know when your bread is ready because it comes away from the sides. Now I'm just going to remove my dough from this bowl. And I've just floured my bench top here. So a few tips with making a rye bread. You might have noticed I used a little bit more yeast than normal. And the next step is we need to prove it into this bowl and let it rise for an hour. And so it needs a little bit more rising time as well. So we've got a nice bowl. So I have a greased bowl here. I've just greased it with oil. I'm going to place my dough in there. And then I've got this great silicone cover. So I'm going to let this rise for at least 60 minutes. It's winter here, so we're a little bit cooler in the house now. So I'll let that rest and then we'll do the next step. So the dough has doubled in size. Look at that. I have a confession. I actually forgot to put in the oil. So this will be a good test to see if it works without the oil, because I often get asked from my viewers, can I leave the oil out? So Sue left the oil out today. So you'll notice in the recipe below it says that it adds oil. So I'm just tapping out some of the air and folding it over, and I'm going to try and get it into like a loaf shape. And I've got my loaf tin here, which I've greased with oil and lined with paper. That's just my way of doing it. I like doing it like that, so it is long on the side and I can take it out once it's risen. Oh, I've got a little bit of a seam there. So the next step is egg white here that I've separated and added it like just a splash of water. And this is optional. If you're avoiding eggs, you can brush it with a little bit of oil or water. And I've got a teaspoon of caraway seeds. I'm just going to sprinkle them on top. This is optional. You can leave these off, but I just thought it might look pretty. So now you can see that the rye bread doesn't fit my tin, so I need to let it rest for another 45 to 60 minutes till it spreads out. So you can add cling wrap, but what I like to do is I've got a couple of plastic bags. I'm just going to loosely pop them on top And we'll let it rise here again. So look at this. My rye and spelt bread's ready for baking. I've had my oven preheating for 15 minutes at 200 degrees with a fan. I'm going to drop it back to 190 degrees now and bake my bread for 45 minutes. And Sumery style, I'm going to add a little ramekin of water just to the base, just to help create some steam and moisture in the oven. Great for spelt bread baking. And I just place the bread at the lower rack in the oven. So my spelt rye bread is all baked. Look at that. How delicious does that look? And I'm just going to cut into it. It's not completely cool. I've had it sitting here for about an hour and a half. And I left it in the tin for about 10 minutes and then I removed it to cool it down. Look at that inside. Looks delicious. I think I was okay leaving the oil out. I don't think it dramatically affected it. Smells delicious with the caraway seeds. I can't wait to eat this tomorrow for breakfast. I'll pop some photos above so you can have a look at some close-up shots. Let me know in the comments below if you give it a go. Hit the thumbs up, share it with a friend, and stick around. I'll pop some other of my favourite spelt flour bread recipes above. See you next time. Hej då from Sweden.